I hope that you enjoy our videos, and please press like. It'll help us a lot. One of the reasons I'm enjoying making these videos is that more and more people are listening in, and we thank you for that very much. I don't know if I've gotten into it in great detail, but a large part of my background has to do with history and geography. I'm fascinated by geography, and that ties into my request that more of you tell me where you're from, what country or what state in the country are you from in your comments, because this is an area that is of great interest to me. Well, one of the things we all would agree, I hope, is that the need for water is not going to go away. And another thing I've mentioned before is that if there's one expert source of information that I put above all others, it is called Grant's Interest Rate Observer. And Grant's Interest Rate Observer very recently brought to our attention to a new potential investment, and that is Primo Brands, which in the last several years has consolidated a number of brands of water, whether it's Arrowhead or other Saratoga, etc., a total of over 13 brands together in one consolidated company that has already achieved significant improvements in efficiency. I'll give you a perfect example. After a lot of the consolidation was done, by the end of last 2024, profits dropped down to a low level, in part, and this is common, that when you consolidate a number of new companies in the same industry, there are costs, often one-time or short-term costs, that have to be taken care of. My memory is that in the fourth quarter of 2024, the operating cash flow for Primo Brands was something like $30 million. And since that time, we've gone from $30 million to, by the second quarter, over $100 million. And in the third quarter, wait for it, $289 million, a spectacular performance this year. Simultaneously, they had some other problems that caused their stock to break, which from the mid-30s, which it was last summer, to about half of that, which caused the company, for largely, in my opinion, PR reasons, to kick out the old management, which in many ways had done a good job, and bring in someone who had, I believe he was already on the board, and had a background as leading water companies, and that was done in November. Since that time, the stock has started to move up, but is still particularly attractive in my opinion. And what Grants indicates is that if you look at the competition in this area of stable consumer products, then the current earnings in terms of operating cash flow could well cause the stock, according to Grants, to triple in a year by we get into 2027. So I think these are some very good positives, even though the balance sheet has some complications since so many of their new acquisitions were bought for a high enough price so that the balance sheet looks like it's got a lot of goodwill in there and therefore not much real equity. That, I think, is a mischaracterization, because you put it all together and their assets are worth more than their revenues. And I think there's a very good chance that the stock can do very well, and also is a stable situation. And so I think the odds that even if there is a drop in the stock market, which I also think is possible, Primo Brands would be one of the best places to ride out the turbulence. If you want a copy of my book, The Speculator's Mosaic, just check below, or it can also be bought on Amazon.